You know, my brothers and sisters, we need change in truth, because I walk around Rose Hall, I walk around Port Morat, I walk around Riverton. I meet young university graduates from Tain. They don't have work. I go in the diaspora. I go to Queens. I walk down Liberty Avenue. People want to come back home, but they're frightened of crime. I meet residents of Berbice, and they ask me for safety. I go to the fishery complex, ask Rishi Thakur, and they want safety. The PPP has failed quarantine. And the quarantine tonight has turned their back on the PPP. PPP would never believe something like this could happen in Whim village. But quarantine has always been a paragon of national unity. Some of you may not know, it's not just Indian and African. Eric Williams, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, married a Chinese woman from New Amsterdam named Mook Sang. On the east of quarantine, at Siparuta and Oriala, there's an indigenous village. So it is not just Indian and African. They're Chinese, they're Portuguese, up to now still living in quarantine. Quarantine has always been multi-ethnic, but some people came along and believed they could divide up quarantine. But tonight, you are showing them that quarantine is united again. But my brothers and sisters, we have work to do. The PPP lost quarantine because they lost the love for the people. They love lucre, they love greed. They wanted to be rich. They replaced truth with lies. What they did also is replace your parliamentary representative with the outgoing Prime Minister. Can you imagine that? They're sending the Prime Minister home and they send him to quarantine. It's not I-pass. How we could do that? If they take away Sam Hines' job, why they send him here? The I-pass quarantine. I don't have anything against Mr. Hines, but if he's retiring, retire him. Don't send him to quarantine. Olin didn't want him. He running out of regions. My brothers and sisters, APNU and AFC have work to do in Guyana and in this region. And the biggest problem facing quarantine, East Berbice Quarantine Region 6, in my view, in the view of the diaspora, is safety, human safety. People don't want to come back home because they feel Region 6 is unsafe. Listen to what the chairman, the president of the Upper Quarantine Chamber of Commerce had to say. His name was Krishna Jaichan. Is he here? Krishna, are you here? I want to quote him. I do like Brother Moses said. I want to quote people so they don't get me wrong. Krishnan Jaichan said, "People are panicking in the face of the crime upsurge." Those were his words. I quote him. But I tell you, quarantine, don't panic. APNU and AFC come along. Don't panic. We have clean hands. And we're going to clean up this mess. Read my lips. I promise you, the residents of East Berbice Quarantine Region number 6, to make quarantine safe. Safe for fisher folk. Safe for businessmen. Safe for women and children. Safe for investors. I get fed up with the murders. Sometimes I myself feel like panicking. Remember Roshni Pratap Singh, the little girl from number 19? You all don't know about her? Raped and murdered. What about Ashana Madramutu from Maida? Raped and murdered. What about Leela Benny from Port Morat? Raped and murdered. These people are giving quarantine a bad name because the police force is not capable of doing its job, because the minister in charge of the police force is not capable of doing his job. And that is why in July 2012, 3 years ago, APNU and AFC came together to pass a vote of no confidence in Clement Rohi. He's not doing his job, and he will never be able to do his job. He's been in government for 23 years. He's been the Minister of Home Affairs for 9 years. He does not come up here. The other man came up here, the other Minister of Home Affairs. I never see a man run so fast. His name is Ronald Gadrad. How do you think he can run, huh? Then Gail Teixeira came up here. But Roy, look at Ronald, he look at Gail, say, I ain't coming. So Roy don't come. But these murders can't go on. People are afraid. Look at what happened to Abdul Majid, old man. Look at what happened to Lala Jagardio, old man. This region is becoming unsafe because Clement Rohi is not doing his job and the PPP is not removing him. We will move him. Moon around till sun catch him. And many of the victims of murder are old women and young girls. That is the problem. We are going to make quarantine safe. Safe for all of the residents, safe for visitors, safe for investors. Who is going to protect you? I'm going to protect you because I'm going to set up a police force that is going to care about you, that's going to look after your interests, that's going to answer your emergency calls in a minute or two, not an hour or two. I talk about fish. I know you all like fish. 15,000 fishermen in this country make their living by going out to sea. 15,000 fishermen. Quarantine depends on fishing, not only rice and sugar, fish. There are over 12,000 fishing boats. But what is happening to our fishermen? Our fishermen, almost by the week, are victims of piracy. Rishi Thakur and I went to see the fishermen. They showed us their scars. Rohi doesn't go to the fishermen. Ramachar doesn't go to the fishermen. Why is piracy persisting throughout the Jagio era, this era of brilliance, this great champion of the earth? Fishermen are going to sea and disappearing. Fishermen are going to sea and their bodies are floating up on the foreshore. Families are left without fathers. Children are left abandoned because their parents are being killed off. And why is the PPP not doing anything about piracy? The PPP does not care about the quarantine. Put in a government which cares about currency, and we are going to eradicate piracy. An APNU AFC government. And don't let me talk about traffic accidents. Don't let me talk about traffic accidents. You see, Mr. Rohi pays a lot of attention to birth certificates. He pays a lot of attention to voters' lists. He doesn't pay attention to murder. He doesn't pay attention to piracy. He doesn't pay attention to traffic accidents. I pay attention to traffic accidents because I have to come up here to Philippi to look into the eyes of the mother of those 2 Bagat girls who were killed at Philippi village. Look what happened there on the same 19 road. 12 people were killed a few years ago in a minibus smash-up. When you walk down some of these roads, no lights, no pavements, no road markings, cows sleeping on the road. And Rohi doesn't care. He doesn't come to these parts. So what are we going to do? We're going to set up a security system in the East Berbice quarantine which protects your sons and daughters on these roads, protects them from speeding, protects them from drunken drivers. That is what we're going to do. We're going to make quarantine safe again. Rohi is not going to do it. The PPP is not going to do it. We are going to do it, AP and UAFC. Every year in this country, yes, every year in this country we hear about armed robberies. And Rohi does nothing to strengthen the police, to prevent arms from coming in the country. We know where the weapons come from. They come from Brazil. We have a 1,300-kilometer border with Brazil. And the weapons come all the way from Brazil to quarantine to do mischief. Every day in this country, there are 3 armed robberies. Every 8 hours, there's an armed robbery in Guyana. You think Rohi care? You think Ramatar care? You think Jagyo care? Well, my brothers and sisters, we have to deal with this threat of armed robbery because it's scaring away investors. If you look at the census data, it's falling faster than the PPP votes. This region had 152,000 residents in 1980 under the PNC. Now it has 125,000. Why? Because people are leaving East Berbice quarantine in droves because this region is unsafe. It's unsafe for fishermen. It's unsafe for children walking down the street. It's unsafe for women in their homes. It's unsafe for families. We have to clean up this mess. And as my sister Supriya said, under the PPP, under the champion of the earth, please quote me correctly, champion of the earth, Guyana has become the suicide capital of the Western Hemisphere. Jagdeo could put that on his curriculum vitae. He made that possible. And on the Bar Jagdeo, this beautiful region has become the suicide capital of the suicide capital. Never before has there been such a high rate of suicide in this region. I told Rohi, happy people don't kill themselves. Happy people don't kill themselves. And the PPP is making East Berbice quarantine a very unhappy place.